Hello everybody, once again welcome back to the Tournament of the Old World as we're into the third round of the Vampire Count preliminations. We've got Jeffrey the referee telling us everything is indeed a go-go here in his favourite blue and white colours, and we are in Grand Cathay for today's battle as we've got Mannfred Von Carstein, right said Mannfred, versus Heinrich Kemmler. Now Heinrich is stationed on the opposite bank of the river. He has brought with him a unit of Black Knights with Lancers and Barding. Didn't do too well in the last battle, as we saw with old Vlad's forces. A unit of Skeleton Spearmen, some zombies, a classic frontline choice there. Multiple units of zombies, in fact. He's got quite the army of zombies. Heinrich himself appearing on the front line on his undead steed. He's got a corpse cart with the Unholy Lodestone, which means it's got pretty good defensive stats there. It can keep the army healed for a wider radius. He's also got another standard corpse cart. His force continues with a unit of crypt ghouls, his own unit of graveguard, and a skeleton spearman. And for heavy punching power, he's got a unit of the crypt horrors. As we all seen, they have done particularly well in battles past so far. Over on Mannfred's side, we've got a unit of hex wraiths, which are basically the undead mounted cavalry version of the cairn wraiths. So a bit more effective. We'll see how they do. We've got a unit of zombies, a couple of those. We've got those own crypt ghouls getting into the fight. Quite a line of zombos. And then we've got a unit of skeleton spearmen and Mannfred himself, who is on horseback here, casting a spell at this point in time where it's been frozen. He looks like a monster from Sons of the Forest. Over at the back of the line, we've got a unit of crypt horrors as well, and his own pair of corpse carts. One with balefire, which is useful because balefire corpse carts do have the ability to cause spells to miscast, which might be useful against Heinrich, who will be relying more on his spell casting rather than his combat capability. Mannfred is on the defense in this battle, so Heinrich will have to be the one who makes the initial attack here, as Heinrich's forces are splitting a little bit. They seem to be heading down through into the channel, but we've also got some going over here on the right flank, some skeleton spearmen, some graveguard. That's interesting to take the graveguard out of the front line. It seems to be a common factor here with a lot of the AI's choices, as we've got a battle of the cavalry as the cairn wraiths, the hex wraiths battle the Black Knights of Lancers and Barding. This is a bad matchup for the Black Knights because they will definitely be suffering from the fact that they didn't get to charge, which means a lot of their damage has already instantly been negated, and they're now on the back foot as those hex wraiths will very quickly punch through them. They have frostbite as well, which is one of the effects of hex wraiths. Cavalry, their weapons cause a reduction in attack speed and movement speed as well. The skeleton spearmen have run in to help, but the crypt ghouls there from Mannfred will definitely be able to support, as they are very quick at being able to obviously debuff enemy forces. Mannfred is getting stuck into the fight. I will point out, by the way, this is very different from how the original recording of this battle went, as this replay is now completely changed thanks to the most recent patch. So I literally have no idea how this fight is going to go now in this semi-final, as Krell has just been summoned by Heinrich. Just to give you an idea, the original battle took place in the riverbed itself, and Mannfred was over on the right flank over here for most of it, tied up in a massive melee scrub. This time, he's not gone over to the right flank and has gotten stuck straight in with his forces on the right. So I'm genuinely interested now in seeing just what's going to happen with this battle, as we've got this flank now, this flanking force is coming in. A lot of Mannfred's forces are just basically wedged up against this rock, and once those skeleton spearmen get in, they are going to take a huge debuff from being hit in the flank, or in the rear in this case. Mannfred's pushing in, he is engaging the corpse cart with the Unholy Lodestone. Getting rid of that is a key factor, and he's doing good damage to it. It's nearly taking half of its hit points. Meanwhile, in the centre of the battlefield, we've got the Crypt Horrors and Krell trying to chew their way through the Crypt Horrors on Mannfred's side, and the corpse carts of Balefire. Obviously, the two corpse carts will be doing good work in keeping the Crypt Horrors upright and swacking away. The zombie unit getting chewed apart, but that's fine. Zombies are meant to be there to absorb all manner of damage. Now, obviously, the Black Knights of Heinrich have been killed. The Hex Wraiths are now starting to hack their way through the Skeleton Spearmen. Of course, the Hex Wraiths will still be taking some damage in return, because Skeleton Spearmen are obviously good at being able to fight large units like horses, so they'll be able to do a bit more damage to them when they do get a hit. Hexwraiths do have the ability, of course, to be able to negate some physical attacks, being they are incorporeal. And in fact, you can see one of them, oh, he got down there and his horse just vanished, and so did he. So there's not even any proof that you killed a Hexwraith because they just disappear. These Crypt Ghouls for Mannfred are starting to fall apart as well, while the Skeleton Spearmen and Crypt Ghouls of Heinrich are actually staying relatively intact, actually. They're doing quite well. They're having a strong showing here on the right flank of Heinrich, which is definitely what he needs, as he's riding around at the back, casting spells, and I think generally just hoping for the best. We've got quite a lot here, as the zombies on this right flank, because of the flanking attack that was made by Heinrich's troops now, they will slowly be getting ground down. They're going to be taking a lot of damage. They are starting to get critical in their binding. They're going to start crumbling soon. Mannfred needs to have an answer for this. He can't just be sitting still. He realistically should have run back. He should have engaged these troops of Heinrich just to take the pressure off. But the Graveguard's sitting pretty. They're completely healed up. They haven't taken any damage basically at all, and this is looking bad for Mannfred. This is not how the original fight went on my recording, which means I'm going to probably have to re-record this. If he keeps doing as badly as he is here, I think Mannfred is going to be in for a bit of a shock, and he is not going to go into the final. So we'll see how this goes, as the Crypt Horrors in the middle have taken a roughly about 50%, a little bit more, as the two Crypt Carts, I was going to say, those two Corpse Carts are still doing a fantastic job in keeping these Crypt Horrors for Mannfred upright. Now, the Crypt Horrors alone could be a deciding factor here. See, one of the key things is that we've seen in these battles is these Crypt Horrors are phenomenally powerful, capable of doing a lot of damage, self-healing, able to rapidly attack. They're good at being able to smack down monstrous infantry, standard infantry, special characters, you name it. Crypt Horrors are a go-to unit for any Vampire Count's army. If anything else, this is just highlighting just how effective these troops are in any melee. You throw them in, they've got a bit of healing behind them from a corpse cart, and they are golden. They are able to very rapidly deal with any threat thrown against them. The battle on the left flank is slowly starting to wind down here, as we can see that the Hexwraiths are going to start crumbling. The Crypt Ghouls probably, if they don't just get outright killed, will also probably start crumbling soon. There's no spells being cast by Mannfred to try and keep them on their feet. Meanwhile, Mannfred is certainly pushing his way into and is definitely killing a lot of these zombies that are arrayed against him, but that really doesn't mean much at this point. Killing off a zombie unit is basically like punching a puppy. It's not a difficult job, it's easy, anyone can do it, and there's not really much they can do back in return. Zombies are just there to absorb impact. They are there to tie up units like Mannfred, and he is falling hook, line and sinker. He's been trapped in this, and now he's having to blast his way out, casting spells, swinging swords. He's trapped, trying to kill off two zombie units on his own, and all the while Heinrich's just sat back there, casting spells, buffing his troops, bringing up fresh corpses for the battleground. And meanwhile, Mannfred's forces are just being torn apart. His zombies are starting to fall apart. His skeleton spearmen, the only real, what could be referred to as capable unit on this flank, are also starting to fall apart. And he has it. Heinrich's got a completely fresh unit of skeleton spearmen and Graveguard just sat there chewing through these forces. It really is going to literally come down to the Crypt Horrors here and the two corpse carts. If they can remain intact, they may just be able to actually deal with this, because the Crypt Horrors for Heinrich, on the other hand, they're having a rough time. They're crumbling. They're starting to fall apart. They are going to start losing a lot of their coherency. They're going to start retreating soon. It doesn't matter if these zombies start to crumble. That's fine, as long as the corpse carts remain intact. In fact, all of his center line is starting to crumble now, and that is going to be a little bit worrying for Heinrich, because if these Crypt Horrors turn right and start smashing into all these forces here, that's going to free up Mannfred, and he may very well start attacking Heinrich, who is definitely not a melee combatant, that is for sure. As we can see, the corpse carts repositioning a little bit, just to give themselves, I think, a bit of breathing room, if that's even possible for a corpse cart. And we can see that the zombie unit there for Mannfred has just dissipated, but the key thing, the Crypt Horrors have been defeated on Heinrich's side. You can see that they have just consolidated their charge there, though, on the right flank. I think Mannfred is trying to reposition his corpse cart for whatever reason. I assume he's trying to heal up a zombie unit. I don't think that's really going to help. much at this point. Now, and he's also just sent in his corpse cart against a unit of Grave Guard, and that isn't going to help. I mean, unless Mannfred's got some plan up his sleeve. It looks like he may have just... I think he cast something. He may have summoned up a unit. I'm not sure what he specifically cast there. Now, the Crypt Horrors are now having to deal with a corpse cart of against their own force here. So they're having to bash their way through Heinrich's corpse cart. It's not a euphemism. It looks like he summoned a unit of zombies is what Mannfred did. But he didn't summon them over his corpse cart, which is a bad idea. He should have summoned them there. Because the corpse cart now, it's going to be in a bit of a rough spot. Now these Crypt Horrors though are doing great work. These Crypt Hobros, they are smashing through the Skeleton Spearmen. They're breaking apart the Crypt Ghouls. The corpse cart here is starting to crumble. That's good. That is very good news for Mannfred. Who, to be fair to him, his hit points are looking pretty rosy. He has obviously dealt with a good number of zombies on this side. His post-battle stats are probably going to look pretty rosy, provided I can actually see them in this battle. The Crypt Horrors have just smashed through. That's the corpse cart gone. I think Mannfred, unfortunately, is going to lose one of his own corpse carts at this rate, because it is looking a bit rough over there. We can see the Crypt Horrors, though, are starting to break through into the Crypt Ghouls. They're starting to do damage to the Skeleton Spearmen. In fact, these Skeleton Spearmen are literally about to start crumbling. There we go. They are rapidly dropping. You see that from they started at 46, and basically every second or so they're losing multiple infantry parts of their squad as they have. Oh, they've regained a small amount. Oh, but it looks like Heinrich is casting a debuff, possibly. He's casting a spell here. Yep, Curse of Years. He's trying to age the Crypt Horrors somewhat, which it only reduces their speed and their melee attack, but really that isn't going to make a huge amount of difference at this point. But it looks like it's also affecting the... no, it's not, sorry. I had it over the corpse cart for some stupid reason. Right, well, the corpse cart just died over here. These these Grave Guard are doing a phenomenal amount of work here. Now, it may be a bit late, but Mannfred has finally decided to engage the Grave Guard. Now, this is what should have happened early on. He should have tied up this unit of relatively elite infantry to allow his troops a chance to be able to do some solid work on the front. Can I just point out, look at how many dead bodies are just littering this battlefield at this point. This is... You imagine the stench post-battle. You'd know there'd been a fight against the vampire counts over here at this point. This is kind of ridiculous. Now, the other corpse cart is looking a little bit, shall I say, shambolic. The Crypt Horrors have dealt with one of the skeleton units. This is good, though, for Heinrich, because his troops have been able to hold these Crypt Horrors in place, and that's exactly what he needed at this point. Mannfred is casting Soul Blight on the Skeleton Warriors unit. Now, this Skeleton Warrior unit will have been summoned by Heinrich, and that meant he has just used a rather significant chunk of his remaining magical reserves, because you have to overcast to bring in a Skeleton Warriors rather than a zombie unit. On average, you're going to be able to summon 3 or 4 zombie units compared to maybe 2 Skeleton Warriors. Obviously, with the payoff being that Skeleton Warriors will be a much more effective unit once summoned to the field. And this is working out. It's working out here. The Corpse Cart of Balefire is starting to get to that point where it's going to start crumbling. The Crypt Horrors, I mean, they're being affected, obviously. Like, Crypt Ghouls are remarkably effective. They used to be a pretty weak unit. You wouldn't really bother with Crypt Ghouls as much, but they have done a lot of work in buffing them in times gone. They've done a good job of that. Now, this is interesting. The skeletons have fallen apart as aspect of the Dread Knight has just been added here to these Crypt Horrors, which is going to be it's buffing both the Corpse Cart and them, which is good because Mannfred needs his Corpse Cart up and running. As the Crypt Ghouls are finally, I think, about to be dealt with. 2 of them remaining, while the zombies have been now pushed in on that flank to try and attack. So this is a bit of a knife-edge fight now. It's coming down to the wire. We've got a situation where Mannfred is being chased by multiple infantry, which even legendary lords will start to feel the pinch of having multiple units surrounding them. The debuffs that start to layer in from being completely surrounded affects even a legendary lord like that. It's basically to prevent them from just completely overpowering an army on their own because they just ignore everything. It's not 3 Kingdoms Total War after all. We're not in the hero mode on that one. So The crypt horrors, though, are definitely the key element here. Basically, at this point, it is Mannfred and a unit of crypt horrors versus skeleton spearmen, a small number of zombies, and a graveguard. And they're going to do the best they can. Obviously, the balefire corpse cart, there's an interesting aspect here. Heinrich, even if he does try and cast a spell, because he's within the radius of the corpse cart, there is a chance that this will cause a miscast. So Heinrich might not be able to get any spells off if this continues the way it does. We can see that these crypt horrors are chewing through another unit. They are about to finish off a skeleton spearman troop. We can see that I think a debuff has just been cast on them, Doom and Darkness, which is I think he's just basically Mannfred's just making sure that they are completely disintegrated, just to, in the key aspect here, to free up his troops. Now, where do the crypt horrors go? Do they go after Heinrich? He is basically right in front of them. Or is he going to run in? Is he going to run them in on the graveguard? That would be useful. They do just appear to just be standing there, though, for some reason. It looks like some kind of strange standoff has occurred, or the AI has slightly broken for the crypt horrors for whatever reason. Here we go. Right, they're starting to move, and in a bizarre twist. Oh no, there we go. I thought the crypt horrors were going to run off to the flank and start attacking, while the corpse cart was going to try and one-on-one Heinrich. I mean, and Heinrich's not much of a fighter, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't have honestly put Heinrich Kemmler as being a particularly a weak foe for a corpse cart to deal with. I think he would have been able to bash the corpse cart into non-existence. I mean, Heinrich here, he's got his favourite staff with his favourite bat wings on it. He's got his weird looking sword. Honestly, I don't know what that thing is. Would you even sheath that thing? I mean, it must have a very unique sheath for that blade. He's got a stupid hat, but that's it. That is it. Heinrich has been defeated, as we can see here from the results. Unfortunately, again, because of this patch, we don't get the end of round stats. Unfortunately, we don't see how many kills there were, but we do know that Heinrich fled after those crypt horrors started to smack him, which meant he automatically lost. He ended the battle, and that means that Mannfred Von Carstein will go ahead into the final against Isabella Von Carstein. So the end happened. It did reach the same conclusion in the battle from when I originally viewed this, but it was a very different set of events. That was interesting, but I'm really interested to see now who the actual winner will be. Will it be the original one that I saw, I wonder, or will it be a different victor? That'll be interesting now. But thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch you all next time for the final of the Vampire Counts, and hopefully future patches won't screw these up so badly. So we'll see you next time. Bye bye.